This aerial view of the Temple Mount marks the geographic and spiritual center of Isaiah's vision for Zion. Historically, the city is defined by periods of exile and poverty, but these final verses describe a transition into a state of eternal divine favor. The text establishes a thematic baseline for this new society, synthesizing material wealth, righteous governance, and the immediate presence of God. By reading through verses 16 through 22 sequentially, we can observe the prophetic buildup of the New Jerusalem. The core tension of these passages lies in the contrast between the city's historical ruins and its promised prophetic destiny. Ultimately, these verses describe the social and spiritual conditions of an incorruptible millennial society. Verse 16 begins, "Thou shalt also suck the milk of the Gentiles, and shalt suck the breast of kings. And thou shalt know that I, the Lord, am thy Savior and thy Redeemer, the Mighty One of Jacob." This depicts Gentile nations and their rulers providing the resources and nourishment required to rebuild Zion. Isaiah 49:22-23 provides a direct cross-reference, describing nursing fathers and mothers who assist in the gathering of Israel. Verse 17 quantifies the material upgrade. "For brass I will bring gold, and for iron I will bring silver, and for wood brass, and for stones iron." This conversion represents a systematic refinement of the city's resources. This upgrade serves as a historical reversal. During the reign of King Rehoboam, Pharaoh Shishak invaded Jerusalem and looted the gold shields originally forged by Solomon. Rehoboam replaced that gold with inferior bronze, or brass, marking a clear period of Judean degradation. By promising to bring gold for brass, verse 17 describes a restoration that exceeds the peak of Solomon's original wealth. The verse also addresses political leadership. "I will also make thy officers peace, and thine exactors righteousness." The text links material stability to ethical foundations, suggesting that the upgrade of physical resources requires a corresponding upgrade in human leadership. This restoration represents a deliberate improvement over historical precedents, rather than a mere return to a former state. Zion's infrastructure is thus defined by the integrity of both its physical materials and its administrative officers. These massive battlements of the Old City illustrate the literal concepts of walls and gates addressed in verse 18. "Violence shall no more be heard in thy land, wasting nor destruction within thy borders, but thou shalt call thy walls salvation, and thy gates praise." The text promises that violence and destruction will be removed from within the borders of the land. The walls of salvation indicate that the city's security is derived from divine protection, instead of military engineering. The gates of praise suggests that access to the city is determined by spiritual alignment and gratitude. Because this prophecy remains unfulfilled in exact detail throughout history, it points toward a future millennial era. The phrasing highlights the psychological impact of a land where the sound of violence is no longer heard. In Zion, the fear of invasion is replaced by the permanence of divine favor. Verse 19 describes a shift in the environment. "The sun shall be no more thy light by day, neither for brightness shall the moon give light unto thee. But the Lord shall be unto thee an everlasting light, and thy God thy glory." This describes a millennial condition where natural celestial bodies are no longer the primary sources of light. The Lord himself becomes the source of everlasting light and the people's honor. Verse 20 continues, "Thy sun shall no more go down, neither shall thy moon withdraw itself. For the Lord shall be thine everlasting light, and the days of thy mourning shall be ended." This imagery contrasts the darkened sun motif found in Isaiah 13 and Revelation 6, where a darkened sky signifies the fall of earthly kingdoms. Conversely, a sun that never sets symbolizes an unbreakable, eternal government. Ending the days of thy mourning signifies the cessation of cycles of death and political collapse. The text presents God's presence as a physical, illuminating force within the millennial Jerusalem. This shift in illumination represents the final transition from a world of natural decay to a world of eternal divine stability. Verse 21 shifts to the people. "Thy people also shall be all righteousness. They shall inherit the land forever, the branch of my planting, the work of my hands, that I may be glorified." Describing the people as all righteous is a hyperbole used to define the conditions of the restoration. The branch of my planting metaphor relates to the grafting of Gentiles into the house of Israel described in Romans 11. This photograph of a small group meeting provides context for the promise in verse 22. A little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, the Lord, will hasten it in his time. The text predicts exponential growth, where a small remnant is transformed into a powerful nation. God promises to hasten this work, accelerating demographic and spiritual growth at the appointed time. The ultimate purpose of this growth is the glorification of God through the work of his hands. Zion's strength is found in the multiplication of a righteous, divinely planted population. Returning to this aerial view, we can summarize the trajectory from the upgrade of material resources to the replacement of the sun by God's glory. These verses describe a definitive end to historical mourning and the beginning of eternal excellency. The beautification of the sanctuary described by Isaiah links directly to the third temple envisioned in Ezekiel 40 through 44. The restoration provides a manifestation of God's honor among all nations. This concludes our overview.